Harvest beneath the skin. I still remember the day my family gathered in the living room, laughter peeling back the layers of my ambition like a malicious onion. "You think you're going to find haunted plants?" my brother Kyle mocked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "What are you, a witch now? You'll lose your mind over this ridiculous obsession." My mother, seated in her favorite armchair, chimed in. "It's unhealthy, dear. You should be focusing on something real. Not these delusions." My father just shook his head, a grave disappointment written all over his face. They all agreed. I was the family disgrace, the one who chased shadows and whispers in the wind. But I knew something they didn't. I knew that the world was riddled with horrors that lay beneath the surface, hidden in the very flora that surrounded us. After being expelled from my agricultural research lab, my claims of invasive plants affecting local residents dismissed as mere superstition, I had plunged into the darkness of bio-contamination. I was determined to expose the terrifying truths that no one wanted to acknowledge. Years passed, and I became a pariah in my own right, but I also became a master of my craft. I traveled across continents, from the cursed fields of Louisiana to the haunted forests of Eastern Europe, documenting the grotesque symbiosis between plants and their unsuspecting hosts. I learned to read the language of flora, to see the way they reached out with tendrils, wrapping around the unsuspecting and pulling them into a nightmare of parasitic reality. My research, once mocked, began to resonate with those brave enough to listen. I became a renowned expert in bio-contamination horror analysis, my findings chilling the spine of the scientific community. And now, after all those years, I was returning home. The old house stood as a monument to my childhood, its paint peeling like the dreams I once had. I stepped through the door, a wave of nostalgia washing over me, quickly followed by apprehension. My family was gathered in the kitchen, their faces a mixture of surprise and disbelief. I could feel their judgment as I entered, the unspoken words hanging thick in the air. They were unsure how to greet the specter I had become, an expert adorned not with accolades but with shadows. "Look who's back," Kyle said, feigning enthusiasm. My mother's eyes darted to the floor, avoiding mine, while my father's expression was a mixture of pride and fear. "You look different," he finally managed, words laced with an unconvincing warmth. "I've seen things," I replied, my voice steady but heavy with the weight of my experiences. "Things that you wouldn't believe. Things that are happening right here, beneath our very skin." They exchanged glances, skepticism etched into their features. But I was no longer the naive girl they had mocked. I was a vessel of truths they couldn't comprehend. I felt the darkness within me stirring, the memories of my discoveries clawing to break free. "Come," I said, urgency thrumming in my veins. "I want to show you something." As we stepped into the garden, the air grew thick with tension. I had brought samples, vials of soil from fields that whispered secrets in the night. The ground beneath us was alive, thrumming with the remnants of the cursed. I could feel it, the pulse of something ancient and vengeful. "Do you remember the old oak tree?" I asked, pointing to the gnarled trunk that loomed like a sentinel over our backyard. "It's infected. It's a host for something far worse than you can imagine." "What are you talking about?" Kyle snapped, his bravado faltering. I pulled out a vial, its contents swirling in a sinister dance. "This is what I found. It's alive and it wants to spread. It feeds on fear, on despair. It's been waiting." The laughter of my family faded into an uncomfortable silence, the air growing colder. I knelt beside the oak, unscrewing the cap and pouring the contents at its roots. Instantly, the ground trembled, a low hum resonating through the air, and the tree shuddered as if awakening from a long slumber. "Stop! What are you doing?" My mother's voice quivered, panic etched into her features. But it was too late. The earth convulsed, roots unfurling like serpents, breaking through the surface. Twisted black tendrils erupted, snaking toward my family, a grotesque manifestation of everything they had dismissed. Their laughter turned to screams as the darkness reached for them, wrapping around their ankles, pulling them down into a nightmarish embrace. "See," I whispered, my heart racing. "You mocked me, but I have survived this. I have faced what you refused to believe. You thought I was crazy, but look at what lurks beneath the facade of normalcy." In that moment, their eyes widened with horror, the realization crashing upon them like a tidal wave. The shadows I had danced with now enveloped them, revealing the gruesome truth of their ignorance. I stepped back, my heart pounding not with fear, but with a chilling sense of vindication. They had ridiculed my passion, but now they were witnesses to the very horrors I had sought to unveil. As the darkness consumed them, I turned away, tears streaming down my face. It was a haunting release, a vindication steeped in tragedy. I had achieved recognition for my work, but at a cost that echoed through my bones. I would carry the weight of their disbelief, but I had triumphed in ways they could never understand. I had survived horrors that would haunt me forever, and now I was the one who knew the truth. As I walked away from the chaos, the shadows whispering secrets in my ears, I couldn't shake the feeling that the real horror lay not in the darkness itself, but in the ignorance that had allowed it to flourish. The world would never be the same, and neither would I.